Welcome back to Secrets of the Opposite Sex. I'm your host, Tasha Ray, and tonight we're live on YouTube to talk about what dating is really like in New York City. We have a great group joining us tonight, so let's get started. Hey, guys.
Hey.
Yo.
Why don't you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves? We'll start with the newbies.
Hi. I'm Olivia in New York, 11 years now, 33. Yeah, that's all I want to share.
I'm Asia. I'm 34. I'm a Leo, and I've been in New York for 5 years.
Yo, that's nice. I'm Drew Comments. Let's see. I've been in New Jersey, New York for a year now. North Carolina A&T State University alum. You know what I'm saying? Virgo child. Just celebrated my birthday. I am 38 years old.
Scoob. Been in New York since I graduated college, which is a while ago. So I'm a Sag though, you know what I'm saying? Birthday coming up, good stuff. And I'm just here for the laughs and entertainment, man. Good stories.
Yeah, I feel like we'll have a couple kikis tonight. Oh, yeah. So we pull questions from the dating and relationship party game, which is Secrets of the Opposite Sex, which you can download on Apple App Store and play from home. But we tailored these questions specifically for tonight's topic. So the first question of the night: how would you describe the dating scene in New York City compared to other places?
Man, listen, I feel like I'm qualified to go here. So prior to being out here, I was in LA for 8 years. It's interesting. That's the word. That's how I describe it. Interesting. I think that LA has a little bit of an advantage over New York just for the fact that the weather is always nice. So we had a lot more time to go to day parties and all kinds of stuff like that. To whereas where New York, once it get cold, you gotta catch people at a good time. Plus the city is a lot faster, bro. Y'all don't understand how fast this thing moves until you go somewhere else. And so in LA, things a little slower, whatever. You have a more of an opportunity to kind of approach a young lady, see what's up, introduce yourself. There's a certain kind of charm that I can use in LA that you cannot use in New York. So it's a little bit different. The culture's a little bit different too. Certain pickup lines, and I don't use pickup lines, but even just certain greetings and stuff are different. You say excuse me to a young lady out in LA, it's gonna be like, oh hey, how you doing? Get a little conversation started. You say excuse me to a woman in New York, she think you tell her to move. I feel like, excuse me, I'm like, where you going? I'm trying to talk to you. Come here. Got some stuff I want to share with you now. So those are some little small things. And listen, I'm trying to tell you, I was at Last Lap one time, boy. I said, excuse me, that girl started walking away. Where you going?
Oh yeah. She be like, nah, I'm good.
She ain't know what I meant, so I had to stop.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's some of the little differences I've noticed so far.
See, I've only dated in New York, so I can't really compare it to anything else. You know what I'm saying? Like I came here when I was 19, when I was an intern and stuff, and then moved out here after school, whatever. So I only been out here, so I'm only comparing it to college. You know what I'm saying? Everybody dating in college is way different. Ain't even really dating in college. It's just, what are you doing after the party?
Oh, let's see what you've been doing for a long time, Scoob. All right.
Studying. Normally the reply is studying. And prepare for class and all that.
Is that not still what's happening these days? What you doing after the party?
No, now it's Bible study. Bible study here.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay, Scoob. Amen, brother Scoob.
Yeah, but they Song of Solomon, like that's different than that's something. Oh, anyway. That's what they studying.
I don't know. I think most of my dating experiences are in New York, but if I talk to friends that are in the suburbs, they're settled down because I think being in a different space with a different paced lifestyle, it feels more accessible to settle down, get a house when you're not in New York City.
Oh, 100%.
Well, that kind of leads into the next question a little bit. So how does the cost of living and money factor into dating in the city?
Oh my God, everything.
Can women answer this question?
I'm about to say because
I had no intention on answering.
I'm about to say I don't think they might not have a lot of input. This is definitely a Drew
and that's not to say that we don't pay for certain experiences after you've proven that you deserve it, but we don't have to pay for all of the different first dates.
But we pay for prep. We pay for prep.
Sure that going into that Sephora and Ulta
makeup is expensive, perfumes are expensive.
I gotta get my hair done, nails nails done. Got to get.
You know what's funny? I didn't have an appreciation for any of that until one time I was supposed to meet this young lady or whatever to go out, and the train, there was like a power outage on the train. I'm in Brooklyn. She's in the Bronx. That's a long distance relationship. That is a long distance relationship. So, and it was like during rush hour. I said, so it's going to take me a while to get anywhere. She was like, you better come up here. I got makeup on and I did all this. Da, 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 da. I got an Uber and got up there.
Good for you.
Oh, yeah. I didn't think of it like that. Like y'all makeup costs money and y'all got to put all this together and whatever else.
Yeah.
For us, it's just real, it's quick.
Yeah, once I found out what topicals was.
Can we backtrack though? I'm still thinking about what Drew said about the differences between dating in LA and New York. Like it really struck a chord.
You were a journalism major?
I was not. I was a poli-sci major though.
Okay, that was close enough. All right.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say anything, but I kind of want you to expand on why you feel like you can approach women in LA, but not in New York. Differently. You have to approach women differently in LA than in New York. Because in my experience, I feel like men do not approach women if we go out somewhere.
Absolutely.
But generally, when I go out, it feels like middle school dance. Like the boys are on one side, the girls are on the other side. It's like you guys are
afraid to say anything to us.
It was that like... Yeah. No one is going to think you're trying to get past and say, when you say, excuse me.
Like, we know what you're doing.
So, let me tell you something. I'm going to tell you what happened. So look.
Do you, I guess my question is, do you really approach women in New York? Like, do your friends approach women in New York? And you have horrible success rates?
All my friends are married with children. But
that's
what
crazy.
I say is.
That was crazy.
Yeah, they all the dudes I went to A&T with. But what I say is that like I didn't realize what I was really getting into until I started going out in New York. There was a rooftop day party in Brooklyn. This was last summer, matter of fact, I'll never forget it. And some kind of low key, just vibing, whatever, you just kind of chill, taking in the scenery or whatnot. I saw this one young lady, foreign, right? Like I'm like, that's my type, all that, right? So, I was funny story. I was like working on okay, how am I going to go up and say something to her? Because like her friends had formed like an offensive line around her. So she was in the pocket, like Aaron Rodgers. So I'm like, look, as soon as I see a gap, I'm blitzing. Anyway, basically what I'm saying here, they kind of maneuvered at one point. So I went up to her and talked to her, and I just want to say, I said, excuse me, how you doing? And then I was like, excuse me. His music was kind of loud. And she started scooting away. And I was like, wait, no. I said, no. I said, listen, I actually want to introduce myself if you don't mind. And then she turned around, she looked me up and down, and we went, shook her hand, introduced me to my name, and we went off from there. But that was the second time. I remember the first time that I tried to holler at a young lady in New York. I seen the young lady. I was like, let me say something to her. I just like her vibe. I want to let her know that I'm alive. Anyway, so I walk up to her. I said, excuse me. And again, start walking away. And like, so from that point, I started kind of gathering like, all right, maybe the word excuse me is not a good like starter in this city. In LA, I never had a problem with it. And so that was that. Strangely enough, at that same day party that I was mentioning earlier, I had struck up another conversation with another young lady, but that was easier because I didn't use excuse me. Because she was walking like a woman trying to get through the crowd. And then she kind of stopped, but she wasn't walking to me. I think she was like trying to, reposition herself. And so I just whispered in there. I said, I'm like, dang, I had my hopes up. I thought she was about to come and say something to me. And she turned around and started laughing. I said, I got excited for a second. She said, what? And then she turned around. She must have liked what she saw, whatever. We got a conversation. Great convo, all that. Did all that. We talked and talked and talked. Then she introduced to a friend, conversation, got a drink, everything was talking, it was good and all that. And then got a number, walked away. She was cute too, everything. And I never called her. That's terrible. Anyway,
nasty work.
This is it. This is it.
Mm-hmm. Like this is what it is.
Toxic.
You were doing so well.
I'm just
right. You were doing so well. I was like,
you
guys dated. It just didn't work out. You didn't even get there.
Yeah, she lived in Queens. But anyway,
is that a deterrent?
I still got a number, but that's over now. So
that doesn't matter.
That's hilarious.
No, I feel you. You're in Jersey, right? Ain't you in Jersey?
Yeah.
You say you're in Jersey, right?
Yeah.
Nigga, everything is a long distance relationship to me, so I get it.
Everything is long distance, but long distance relationships happen in a lot of cities. Like LA got long distance relationships. If you live in downtown LA, you meet a girl live in like Pomona. No matter of fact, no. if she live in like Panorama City or North Hollywood, that's a long distance relationship. But the crazy part is when you live like, okay, I live in Studio City, okay, bet. And you go to a day party somewhere in LA, you meet a girl, she be like, yeah, I'm in Inglewood. You be like, all right, I'm from Carson City. What? So like, you know, I'm kind of used to the whole in the same city, still long distance thing. However, New York is a different animal because this is not a city. This is a machine. All right. The loops and stuff that go around like a Hot Wheels racetrack. It's crazy. And like,
you gotta learn how to use the train. What are you talking about?
No, but there are some boroughs that are deal breakers though.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't date anyone in the Bronx.
I dated two people in Harlem.
She did. She was making moves. She had a suitcase.
That's dedication. That's dedication.
This was in love. Okay?
Harlem? I ain't been to Harlem about 2 years. That is dedication.
That's why.
Listen,
first of all,
my last relationship, she lived in the Bronx.
Ooh.
She had a car though.
It's even farther. You got to, because
okay.
And I have the big apartment and stuff, so she was here, so I didn't have to.
Or flex.
I'm just saying that's the only way it was gonna work. That's the only way it was gonna work. I got the amenities and shit. It's like an amusement park in here.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So yeah, come here. Absolutely.
Nest thermostat, you know, stainless steel appliances.
You know, got the AC running right now. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, you got money. Okay.
Oh,
garage parking.
Food is available.
Fitness center.
Before we get deeper into the borough talk, I wanted to say when we were talking about the difference between dating in different places and how women react to you, Drew. When I first moved here, I was mad as hell. And I feel like I've had this conversation with Scoob numerous times at little game nights because I'm mad. I'm like, y'all don't want to talk to me at the bar? Y'all don't want to buy me a drink? Y'all don't want no? You just want to look at me all night? Or be like, Drew, never call? That's rude. But I will say, I thought it was so odd because when I lived in DC, oh my God, I knew I was never paying for a drink. Yep. Never paying for a drink. Not a thing. And I know all I have to do is walk to the bar, hang out with my girlfriend. Somebody is going to speak. Somebody's going to say something. It's going to be an intriguing conversation. Numbers will be swapped. We probably going to hang out all together after the event. Like things happen. Here, I just never understand it. And one of the guys at Scoot's party told me that it's because, like, I guess, like, the real New Yorkers, like born and raised New Yorkers, feel like women are mean up here. Like the New York women are meaner and not as open and receptive to guys hitting on them or talking to them because it's just like, get out of my face. And
see, I guess I never felt that way. Now I'm from Philly. The women in Philly are mean. This is nothing up there.
So grow up.
Yeah, that sounds like an excuse.
When my parents met, they met at the club. Okay. My dad walked up to my mother and her friend and said, would either of you like to dance? And my mom said no, and looked at her friend and said, you can dance with him. And she looked back at her and said, no, you got it. Like, what happened to perseverance? They've been married for 36 years now.
Well, hold on. But let's think about the time you're talking about, right? One of the things the key piece to what you said, they met at the club and your dad asked her to dance. When have you been at a party that people like ask you?
So let's make it 2024 friendly. How about we're at the function, we're at Cafe Urzuli, and you say, hey, can I buy you a drink? Or, hey, can I get your number? Like how Drew was saying, they excuse me, whatever. Like, I think the key difference from like what you guys are saying and your perspective is that, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, that just doesn't happen. Like, I'll go out places. I know I'm not ugly. Okay. So
right.
I'm presentable. I look put together, but the conversations aren't happening because it seems like you're too afraid. And this is general, not you two. But it seems like they're too afraid to approach you. Or the men, what I'm finding is the men want to be approached. And they think that they're the prize.
That's the one.
Okay.
That's the one.
You guys are a prize in a particular framework, but we are actually the prize. And so, like, do you think that we're supposed to come up to you and approach you? Like that, when we go out, every time we leave, this is the conversation we have. Because we're like, men want to be courted.
Like, okay, to Tasha's point, because I'm from Maryland, like the men in DC, like they just have a different aura vibe about them. They feel a little bit more, maybe it's masculine vibes. I don't know. But like, that's why she doesn't have a problem getting a drink or having something paid for or engaging in a conversation when she goes out in DC. That energy is not reciprocated here. That does not happen here.
I agree with that. Y'all are both very attractive. Tasha, you too, but you don't.
Oh, got liberal over here.
But nah, it's not like, so the one of the things you mentioned, you were saying like how a lot of guys, they want to be approached or whatever. I used to think that way when I was a kid though. Like when I was like 18, 19, so whatever. And it's funny because my nephews are like that. One of them, he's 15. He's like, yeah, man, I like girls that come up to me. I'm like, look at this little nigga. But that is kind of like, it's kind of like an ego thing. You know what I'm saying? Like when you grow up and constantly hear, oh my God, he's so cute and that all that stuff. By the time we are 17, 18, whatever, listen, it's here. We know what we working with or whatever. Yeah. So yeah, you're thinking that way, but I grew out of that though. Like, so any guys that are like 30-year-olds talking about, yeah, you come up to me, that's a little crazy.
Childish.
But that's also like
very
another
common.
thing is like a lot of men are stunted in that like teenage dating era. And so we have grown ass men walking around acting and dating like they're 16, 17-year-olds, like super egotistical, super like, it's all about the looks. It's all about that. And so now we're dealing with like men in their 30s acting that way.
And I would even go as far to say 40s.
30s up.
Because sometimes, you're like, well, maybe I just need to date a little bit older. No,
it's all
right, that part.
All right. So I'm gonna tell you this. Let me tell you this. When you approach a young lady, you are going to need to have a personality, and a lot of men don't have that. You also got to be able to articulate a thought and be able to think on your feet. Everybody can't do that. Now, you would think in a city like New York that you have a lot of slick talkers. I mean, but that it's kind of compounded. So it's that part is one. You got to be able to do that. Two, there is a little bit of that aura about New York women being mean. Particularly, like my worst fear is like I'm afraid to run into a woman who sounds like Pop Smoke. Like if she like
why he likes this.
Because that's what the media shows. These New York girl drill artists sound like that. They be like, "Yeah, we from New York, and I'm a bad." I be like, "Yo, look, I don't want to."
I'm convinced. I'm convinced. Drew said, "Excuse me," one time, and some girl was like, "What's good, my G?"
No. Yeah, and now he's just scarred.
I'm like, "What's good, my G? How you?" And he walked away, patted you on the butt like he was going to the game and shit. She's like, all right, I see you.
What the drilly with that though? Like,
yeah, I see you.
Like, but for like, it's just like, so that's the first thing. But there is also, I think that men, I think we kind of miss in the city like New York is amazing. It's ridiculous cities. Like you have a level of immunity in a way because there's so much happening and so many women and people in the cities that. Yo, you could take it. Like a lot of men are afraid to take an L when they holler at a woman. But here's the thing: you don't really take L's in New York because if I approach you, you say no, I'm never gonna see you again anyway. This city is way too big. So if I never see you again, did the L really happen? Like if a tree falls in the woods, ain't nobody. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, who's witnessing? Ain't no witnesses. I'm not gonna remember you. You're not gonna remember me. So I think you have free reign to shoot there. But I think a lot of guys kind of get caught up in their own ego. And it's like, all right, yo, if she said no, or if I'm not confident in who I am as a human being, it's gonna hurt me a little bit to actually approach. Me, I had to even sometimes when I approach now, like it's like, okay, take a deep breath. You know what I'm saying? Just make sure everything flows down your feet a little bit. Let's go in there. And then it's just like I just want to introduce myself. And then let my mom and daddy home trying to take over.
Yeah.
And, it worked.
Yeah.
There we go. We need more.
No, that's real shit though. I used to be like nervous and all that other stuff, and then I just kind of like realized I was like, "Yo, you a funny ass nigga. Like, go ahead, do what you do." Like, so it's like, so then I just you get over it. I guess it just comes with like you growing up or whatever. Just like Drew said, you got to have a personality and be able to talk. Like, I honestly believe, even using like in Tasha, I don't want to jump the gun, but if you using dating apps. And I feel like any woman that is a terrible conversationalist should not be on a dating app. You literally got to talk to people first. You know
I mean, I think that goes both ways.
Yeah,
I know it goes both ways. I don't be speaking to niggas though. So you feel what I'm saying? So I
fair.
can't be on here like, yeah, man, I was talking to this one dude, man. He's, you know, or women on these apps, it's almost like it feels like an interview at first, or sometimes, you know what I mean? Like they're responding back with one word answers. They don't move the conversation forward. It's like, yo, all right, I'm tired of asking you questions. And I just like stop talking. So yeah, but meeting out in the world, yeah, I don't have no problem with that or whatever. Like talking is natural is what I do. So it's like whatever.
I think that what they were saying, like, and what you were saying too, I think that really ties into the next question about growth being stunted. And I feel like this is why technology has stunted a lot of growth.
Mm-hmm.
What role do you think technology, dating apps, social media play in New York dating culture?
Ladies, I want to hear from y'all, please.
Right.
I know y'all got something.
This is like one of the topics of conversation we talk about constantly.
Yeah.
I mean, social media and dating apps has created this idea that you have so many different options. And so you really like don't have to actually settle down. And there's so many beautiful women who look different, who have a lot to offer. And all those things are super wonderful, but they're surface level. Mm-hmm. And when you just like take everything for the surface level, you're like, you know, screw her. Like, I don't actually have to build and work through this with her. I can go find somebody else that's much easier. Mm-hmm. And it kind of like takes away from what the foundation of a relationship really is, which is like building and working through life with someone. And so I don't know. I hate dating apps. Every time I like use them, I either meet a psychopath or like I go for an interview and I'm like, should I have brought my resume? Like, I don't know what's going on here.
That's hilarious.
It's actually really crazy. And then you like date people and you know that they're out there and you know that it just feels like there are so many options.
Oh, ladies.
I don't know.
Real quick, we got somebody talking about us.
Oh, Darren has a hot take.
As women are still looking for guys to buy them a drink. This ain't 1975. Y'all are making just as much these days. And this
You're right. And we don't need to buy a drink.
We don't need it. But at the end of the day, like,
it's an easy entry point to conversation.
Yeah, it is.
Like, how much? And you guys can answer this. Like, if we offer to buy you a drink at the bar and your homies are looking at us offering to buy you a drink, are you kind of like, oh my God, what? And it takes away from your manliness? Like, let's not act like gender roles and stuff don't really still show up.
Listen, you are not emasculating me if you say, hey, boo, you looking bop, bop, bop. You want a drink? I'm like, Courtney.
You know what? I've watched that a couple times.
Go ahead and earn me. Yes,
oh
go ahead.
God. You know what I think is funny though? When guys like that make those comments, those typically end up being the guys who want a traditional relationship. But it's just like you don't want to do traditional type things. You don't want to court a woman. You think buying a drink is just
it's $12, Darren.
like
well, hold on. The attitude that you have with it is that's good. A lot of women that don't feel that way though. You know what I'm saying? Like there are a lot of women.
Well, yeah, because there's also the women that are like going out on dates just for free meals,
right?
And so we're not subscribing to that.
Right.
No, we're not talking.
Aaron's probably been through a lot of that. That's probably why there's a lot of us out here.
Sorry, Aaron.
You feel upset. We hear you.
So we had another comment. So men in their 30s and 40s are in their prime. It's the same when women in their 20s were in their prime having fun. Okay.
I was not in my prime at all in my 20s.
And women in their 40s are feeling what it's like to be a man in his 20s whenever women were in their prime. That's an interesting take.
I don't understand that last one.
I didn't get the last one either.
I think she's saying that men are like peaking in their 30s and 40s, like they're at the pinnacle of their careers. You know, they have.
Yeah, I figured she was talking money.
Right. Similarly, I think you're trying to make the correlation like women when you're in your 20s, like you're probably skinny. That's when you're skinny and like you look good or whatever. I mean, I don't agree with that. I feel like I haven't even hit my peak.
Personally. Yeah, me neither. I think my 20s were full of like me making
just bad
poor dating decisions based off of life that like as like it's not real.
Yeah.
It took me getting into my 30s and like a lot of other things to figure out what real relationships actually are and like what being in something real is versus like, I'm going to be married at 25
Yeah.
is what I thought I was going to do.
I'm so glad you said
there we
that.
are.
Oh yeah. There's
Because they gaslight me and say, we don't talk like that. I'm like, yo, I was literally there when y'all was saying it. We were 17, 18 years old. Y'all was like, we'll be married at 25.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, 1000%.
1000%.
30 is so old at that age.
Too. I like shared my Pinterest board with my boyfriend at the time. Like,
Yeah, and everything. My floral bouquets.
Yeah.
right. So then they get mad at us when we 30 and we want to try to marry a 25-year-old. How you know she was married?
Whoa. We didn't say all that. We did
No,
not
I was
say
about
that.
and
I was
also
about to go down that road.
in our 20s, I would not have been ready for marriage in a real way.
Hell no.
Mm-mm.
I thought that I was, but I wasn't.
But that's the thing, like y'all. So the funny thing is when people talk about like men dating younger women or something like that or whatever, right? We're peers at first. We coming out of college. We're all 21, 22, 23 years old, right? You guys have in your mind, like you said a second ago, oh, by the time I'm 25, I'm going to be married, or 27. We are not even thinking that way at all. Like remotely. Us dating each other that's why it doesn't work, because we're just having fun with y'all. You guys are thinking like, oh, this guy's so nice and blah, blah, blah. We're not thinking that way. You're just like, oh, you're planning the wedding.
Yeah.
That's why you got to come out and already go for the dude that's established or whatever. Even though in your peer group, it's going to sound crazy. Like, yeah, my boyfriend is 32. People like, what?
That's a fine line because, you know.
But I'm just saying, like, our dating, our trajectories are different.
Like, and also like emotional maturity is different.
Right.
Yeah, well, that too. But we're looking at it like when we're 22, by the time we're 27, we're thinking how much bread we're going to have, where we're going to be living, stuff like that, our status. We're not thinking about being married or none of that. We're just talking about getting money.
But at what point do you think about that?
Yeah.
When I get rich.
Yeah, exactly.
Get rich. Yo,
And what if that day never comes?
Yeah.
That day came in 30,
at some point, you got to kind of like focus on what's important. Like, I mean, that's a question for you. I mean, not me asking questions. Tasha's the host here.
Go. Go ahead.
No, it's just, okay. I mean, now we're talking about this. So you weren't ready and thinking about marriage at 27. Understandably, you're trying to get your career off the ground. You're grinding, you want to be financially secure. At what point do you say, you know what? I'm going to focus on family, because at the end of the day, I might make all this money. I might reach crazy heights in my career, but who am I going to share that with?
Right.
By the time you do decide that, what? Now you have to date a 27-year-old because the viable, amazing women that you passed up or
that you fumbled.
Exactly.
So what do you prioritize that?
Well, black women, y'all age like vampires, so I actually got like extra time with y'all, so y'all can like be like well into your 40s, and I can still.
That is true.
So I don't really have to go 27. You can go. Look, listen. 25-year-old, 45-year-old black women, it's the same person. Like, just one got way more career stories, but they look exactly the same. So it don't really matter. I'm telling you from experience. Like, look, I done dated women 10 years older. I dated women 10 years younger. Let me tell you something. Ain't nothing different except the older one had way more like adventures that she had covered in her life. Other than that, same energy, vibe, everything was cool. So, yeah. But I'll say this. I think for me, 32 or 33. I'm gonna say 32. Okay, I'm well in the career, making more money than I ever made in my life. Financially secure, socially secure, body looking right, I'm in the gym, everything. I'm feeling great. It's wonderful. And I was like, you know what? This LA day party scene and all these things is cool and all that, but I don't know, maybe it's time to hang it up, man. You know what I'm saying? So I told myself, I said, all right, bet this time, all right, we're gonna start dating with well, I didn't know what the word dating with intention meant yet because Clubhouse didn't come out. But what I'm saying is, because that's the first time I ever heard that term.
That was a time.
But listen, but like I told my mom, I was like, look, I think I'm gonna go ahead and settle down and get a relationship. She's so excited. She's like, "Oh, is it that time? Yes, it's time. It's time." And so, and I decided to do that. And then I think I had like, I don't know. I think for me, it was just you just kind of get fed up. I'm not saying I was frustrated. I enjoyed, being in the streets, but like at the same time, it's just like there's I could really do more. And if I can magnify the human experience with somebody. Then yeah. And on top of that, last thing I'll land with this. is that when you start realizing the quality women that you're actually coming in contact with, and realizing that it's a bunch of winners that you're dealing with, and you're kind of just like, I'm like, man, I've been blessed to come across like really good women, like, and it was me. I just wasn't there yet. So once I realized I could change my mindset and do that, it's cool. Now that doesn't talk about the times when you actually get serious with somebody and they're talking, everything's great, and all this great, and they switch on you, which is why I never did another Gemini again. But what I am saying is that it's just a mindset. Like you just come to that realization one day, like, yo, I can actually do this. So yeah.
So I have a question. So you guys were saying, it takes you some time to, got to get your career together, got to get your money together. Why do you think culturally it's so different? Because in college, all the white girls that I went to school with, everybody was getting the ring before graduation. Like that was the thing. That was literally the thing, getting the ring before you graduate. So and a lot of them got married very early in college, right after college, to their college sweetheart, and started families very early on. And like that's very much the focus. But how come
because their families got 10 times the wealth as our families.
No.
And
not all of them. Not all of them.
And they got slave owner money that they can lean
That
on.
is not
and
always
equity in homes have been passed down for generations, and they can take that out to help buy a new home. Us, we start from the start. Like, listen.
Well, then that means you start building earlier, right? Now you're going to go your whole life building by yourself because you can build more when you got a teammate, right?
That's a cop-out.
Black women want to.
Yeah, it is a cop out.
I really think they, and this is like no shade to, and this might be a hot take, I don't know. I think that our family structures and where we place value is different. A lot of these white people or non-blacks, they place a higher value on two-parent households, and a lot of them come from that. And a lot of us and a lot of our Black men come from like single-parent households. So you might not have grown up seeing your mom and dad in the house. You might not have the story of your parents meeting in college and you wanting to emulate the same for yourself. You're thinking, I have to provide for my family. I got to get my mom a new house. Like there's other priorities that you have in place, and having that traditional family white picket fence story isn't going to be a top priority for you because you haven't seen it and you haven't really experienced it for yourself. So I just think that like that's just a cultural difference that we kind of just have to break that cycle ourselves.
That's a good point. I will say though, my parents actually did recently celebrate their 40th wedding anniversary, so shout out to them. So I've seen it.
We're fortunate to have the two-parent household.
Same.
Not all of us are.
Very true.
I'm raised by my dad.
Okay. What is it about us? You know what? I want to kind of go back to like that social media thing. Do you think that has impacted us as men in school? Like maybe if this was 30 years ago, maybe we would have made different decisions. But like we were in college during the Instagram era, bro. Like we were in like, or not. We actually right before Instagram, but like you get out.
No, Facebook.
Like
Facebook just came out when we were in college.
Facebook, MySpace, Black Planet, like. Did that
Black Planet, yes.
Yeah.
But there are studies that show that those things like change and are changing like the chemistry of our brain, right? Like so they're changing the way in which like we process information and how we're making decisions going forward. Like we can't act like the exposure of just things isn't impacting how we move, right? Like if you look at like all those like couple goals, whatever on Instagram, right? Like to act like seeing that stuff day in and day out is not impacting what we envision is ridiculous, because it is. And it causes us to like make certain decisions based off of what we're seeing, what we're exposed to. So we are impacted very differently from like our parents. I remember my mom telling this story of like her and my dad getting into a fight, but she was on the payphone, like cursing him out on the payphone. And she's like, and I kept having to put quarters in and I was mad and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what? Like you were putting quarters in the phone? Like that's crazy to me. And he was like, yeah, and then I didn't pay my phone bill and I couldn't. And I'm like, what? We're like, we have each other like such easy access.
Yeah.
That like, I think our brain chemistry is like completely different than our parents, but that doesn't mean that like we don't want the same things. it just feels
Yeah.
different how we have to get them.
Yeah.
I think one of the things you guys mentioned too, Liv's talking about like the family household structure and all that.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been around that. Like, so my father, I was raised by him, so he's always had like girlfriends. So it's never been like, I never saw kind of like, that happy home thing. So I would never aspiring for that wasn't like a thing. Like my grandparents were together, but it was like, that's different. That's your grandparents. I feel like everybody's grandparents together. Even if they sleep in different rooms, they still together.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mine
So did mine.
Right. So it wasn't anything that like, for me, it was always, like I said, get out here, get to it and establish yourself and all that other stuff, and everything else will happen. You know what I mean? Like, so I was never kind of like, I never was like, oh, I got to get married. I got to do this or whatever. I didn't even have the idea of marriage before a kid. So it was always like, I never thought about it in that way.
Yeah.
Well, have you ever was there a point in your life where you started to think about it, or you were exposed to maybe your colleagues, your friends from school, maybe your frat brothers are getting married and experiencing the
Oh, and I've been to a game of weddings. I've been to a ton of weddings. Weddings are fun as hell. I want a wedding, but I want a wedding for the wrong.
Not a wedding, a marriage. Everybody have a good time at the wedding. I'm talking about a marriage.
Yeah, I want the show, the party. You feel me? Like I want that.
Oh, that's the wrong reasons to.
That's what I said. That's why I'm not married. That's why I'm here talking to you. That's what. But it's like, but nah, I mean, like weddings and love and all that stuff are amazing. Like some of the brothers all have like really nice families. They all got doing their little play dates with their kids, and so I think it's amazing. It's great. So yeah, there are times you think about it, and there are women that you meet that make you think about it. But I'm gonna tell. There's one thing Drew kind of was talking about, and it came to my mind. One of the worst things, and y'all women probably don't even know this, but Drew is 100% going to agree with this. One of the worst things as a man is to meet a dope woman when you are down, when you don't got shit, like your career's off, everything's fucked up. Meeting a dope woman is the worst thing ever. Because we can't for y'all. You can't do there's nothing we can do with y'all. And the thing is, we'll meet y'all just how you're talking about a guy that may not want to talk to you in a club or whatever. He could be going through hell, but his boys are dragging him out. He can't open up to you and tell you all that. You're like, damn, this nigga just told me the most heartbreaking shit ever. It's like, girl, this nigga gotta go he getting evicted next week. And
but you know what's crazy? Women will hold y'all down through that. Now boundaries are a thing, but
right.
If you that's another story.
That's a different topic.
Because
I want to build with you. I'll be
I don't
blah blah blah. It just is
the other thing that's terrible
I've been there.
When you open up to the wrong woman. Happen to be we think you're cool enough to be vulnerable in a moment or something. And next thing you know, like we are the main character in your group chat getting killed.
Corny.
Yeah, like it's just
give you a nickname.
This is gonna say like broke nigga and you don't follow his back, all type whatever, just anything. But the point is, it's just like man. Meanwhile, the nigga can go home like, yo, man, I met this girl, she was so dope and blah blah blah, and never talk to her again. Like, man, I gave her so much information. Like, so that's what I'm saying. You have to look at it from the standpoint of like what we're dealing with, because if we're down and we're not like good, meeting one of you guys that happen to be amazing is the worst shit ever. Because you'll think it's like, yo, he never called me. His follow-up is whatever. I've had to double back on different women and be like, yo, I was fucked up when I met you. Be honest with you. This is what it is and blah, blah, blah. He's like, oh my God, thank you for telling me because nigga. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we hear that. It's like, but it's a weight off my shoulders sometimes too, because I didn't want them thinking like I was out here just playing around or whatever. Mm-hmm. And they've all appreciated, you know what I'm saying? They're like, oh, thank you for telling me that. But yeah, meeting y'all in the moment. And the thing is, then we on Instagram just keeping tabs. It's like, oh, she's still single, I think. And then next thing you know, you see as soon as we see an elbow or something in your story, it's over.
Yeah.
It's like, nigga, she posted a knuckle. It's over.
Or a hairy watch. Like,
exactly. Right.
You like, ah.
Yeah. Or she's in the car in the passenger seat with the red seat and shit. Like,
oh god, y'all so much.
She's showing the ceiling and the joint, all the stars. And shit. Like, like nigga, she just posted the Milky Way on the timeline.
I think again, like it depends on the caliber of woman that you're engaging with, because especially if you are honest and real with somebody and they tell you, you tell them, I'm not where I want to be right now. I'm going through something. I mean, that tells you what somebody's about anyway. They just did you a favor if they do that, hop in the car and, talk trash about you, call you, whatever it is. Or if they're going to be down and just be like, okay, well, maybe we can't. Because clearly, if you're going through something, you'll need to be in a relationship. So maybe you could just be friends. Maybe I could be a support system in that kind of way if I feel like there's potential there. But I don't always think that's true, because I started dating somebody in the pandemic and he was down. He lost his job, everything. But most people did. But I knew that he wasn't the type of dude that was going to get put down and stay down. Like he was going to get back up, And you can see that in people sometimes. So I can tell that you just having a moment, and this moment isn't your life. This is just not you on a regular basis where you always down, it's always something. Then it's still worth investing in my opinion.
And I understand that. The other part of that though is like what you guys were talking about when we first started talking, and y'all were asking about dating. And Drew and I are both like, yeah, this is probably for a question for the two of us, because we're spending all the money. You meet certain women and you hey, what do you like to do or whatever? And they strictly like dinner, like a night, you know what I'm saying? Like there's no happy, medium between the two. It's like there's certain things that they want to do that impress them or whatever, that holds their attention. It's not fiscally responsible if I'm down to be taking you to Brooklyn Chop House, just saying.
You got Drew, but y'all know who these women are before you start engaging with them. You see her lifestyle, so don't be surprised when she want to go to these places, because that's what you chose.
But here's the thing, you don't always know, because the three of you guys are all beautiful, right? All y'all are attractive. You don't wear on your forehead, I'm a bitch or nothing like that, or I'm this or whatever. You feel me? Like nobody wears their personality on their forehead. So getting to know y'all, then all of a sudden you're talking to them and they're like, oh yeah, this is what I'm about. Then you're already too late. You're already in the conversation.
Yeah, I think those things are like a little bit more nuanced, and like you catch a vibe really quickly, right? Like I've caught vibes from men where I'm like, you're just for the streets, like buy whatever. 1,000%. And I can also, as a woman, catch another woman's vibe, like, do you, girl? But like, I know that you're probably a user and you'll use men for whatever.
Absolutely.
And so I think like men are a little bit more with it. You can fall back on the excuse of like, I didn't know until I was 17 dates in that she was a gold digger. But like, you knew.
Right, exactly.
You knew from the first conversation.
You saw the red flags.
Yeah.
And you wanted to ride that ride.
Give it a chance to like, I'm gonna go out with her and see what the vibe is when we out kicking it or something. You feel me? Like first date or two, whatever. And it was cool. But I started calculating certain things after a while. And I was like, all right, man, I'm spending a lot of bread on this girl. Like we already in, date 3. Like, one of the things that threw me off, we had gone out or whatever. Nice day. Mind you, it's my birthday.
Did she pay? Did she pay?
No.
It wasn't it.
On your birthday?
Oh, no. That was
done something for you.
But it was more so like we go to, I'm like, all right, cool. She's like, yo, let's we done eating. Let's go to the bar or whatever. I'm like, all right, cool. Let's go to the bar. So now I'm thinking like, all right, she gonna do this. Cool. We get to the bar. She's like, yeah, let me get you this whatever shot you never had before, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, all right, cool. So we drinking and shit. And then she said some freaky shit though. And she was like, yeah, let me bring this. She brings another girl over. Is the point. And I was like, she's like, yeah, you. I was like, yes, I'm with it. Go ahead. So she's, bring the girl over. They doing shots or whatever. And at the time we about to close out or whatever, the bartender come over. He was like, yeah, I'm gonna go get the tab. You bring it. She goes,
Scoob.
I was like, yo.
Signs were all there, Scoob.
But like,
the signs were there.
Be real with us.
No. Once I
You
again.
knew.
So this is the
Scoob
thing.
was blinded by the lights.
He was
Exactly.
blinded.
Scoob was blinded by
bringing
her.
over the girl.
So you know, I'm gonna tell you.
Of course,
I'll tell you what happened in that. I'm gonna tell you what happened there. So after all of this, and I just started, just how you saying, like you get the signs and feel whatever. I was thinking to myself, like I am dating her for sex. I'm not dating her for because I like her or dig her, nothing like that.
Pasha sipping
So
her drink.
once I had that post nut clarity kind of realization, I was just like, yeah, I'm good over this. I can't.
Even Drew is looking at you sideways.
But
like,
also then that becomes mutual.
So y'all were the perfect match then. You were using her for sex, she was using you for your money. So that's what happened. Both y'all
it was
being
your
toxic.
birthday,
You
bro.
can't be mad.
She didn't do anything. I wouldn't.
No, she's not it.
Oh no, I wasn't it that day.
You know
Y'all are
what?
funny.
Yeah.
Next question is: how does the concept of status or success impact dating in New York City?
I'm gonna tell you how it impacts on the male side. You know what's crazy? I realize that I think sometimes we overreach a little bit as men. Sometimes women don't really be needing all those extravagant stuff that we be wanting to like to spend all this money on and stuff. And we get kind of head fake because we look at a woman, we think, well, she's just so fine that I gotta spend this, and this in order to, be satisfactory. When actually, like, you want to be cool with something a lot more chill. And I think social media, well, I'll speak for myself. For me, what can actually throw me off is the social media podcast culture that said, okay, gotta be $200-$300 dates, $400. And like, I've been a victim of listening to that like a dummy. Clubhouse, I'm blaming Clubhouse for that too. Twitter. But like, you just hear these messages, you be thinking like, even in your head. And the bad part is, as a man, when you got it and spending it don't really mean nothing to you, you go ahead and do it. And it's like, you know what? I really didn't have to do that. It didn't break me or anything like that. But like, I think that we will, as men, sometimes, and I'll say, when I say we, I mean me, specifically. My mama called me out on this too. That hurt my heart.
Not your mama.
My mama, her 60, she called me out. She said, see, your problem is you be doing too much for these women too early. I was like, what? You be taking all these nice ones. Where you say that one girl? I said, we went to Brooklyn Chopper. See, I did. I really took you there. I've taken women to what's that? The Salt Bay, Nusret. Like,
you tripping.
Listen, bro. Hey, look, and I spend like I got it, whatever. And it's like, you know what? But like, and this is what my mama told me when she criticized me for not being married yet. My brother's married. My younger brother's married. I'm not. So look. So anyway. So like, it's like, okay, you start off so high that it's hard to have anything to work towards. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? You kind of got to work. Mm-hmm. And so that's one of my things. And so like, go to a basketball game, we sitting like close to the floor. Like, I'm trying to get, it's like, you know what? And then you talk to the girl, she's like, actually, I would have been happy back there too, as long as I was with you and the experience. She'd be like, for real? So I think that the idea of status, and the bombardment of the messages of what we see just in the city, what we see on our explore pages or For You pages, whatever it is, what app you're using, it can kind of, I'm not gonna say camouflage, but it can send a false perception of what is actually required. And I think maybe a little better communication, at least on my part, I'm speaking for me right here, can kind of save me a little bit of money. And so, I think it does impact it a little bit. So that's just what I was thinking about.
And it gets in the way of like getting to know the person, because I feel like my most fun and most thoughtful dates were just things that like I had spoken about as interests of mine, and you figure out a way to make a date around it, right? Like, I've been to really nice restaurants and all the things, whatever, and like that's really nice. And I think like if you find a decent girl or woman, she'll appreciate it. Yeah. But I think what we appreciate is like thoughtfulness, even if like I think I had a really fun date and it didn't work out with the guy, but like I'm a Harry Potter geek, and like he took me to the Harry Potter experience, and he was not into the Harry Potter vibes, like at all. I was like, oh, it was a little pricey, but like it was thoughtful. And I'm like, oh, like you did this because you listened to what I said to you, and you like put me first in a way that like wasn't actually fun, where I guess we could have just gone out to a really nice restaurant.
But that's boring, and anyone can do that.
Exactly.
Anyone can take you out to a nice restaurant. Do you want to get to know me? do you listen to what I'm saying? If I say like, oh, I find myself, if I say like, I mean, I like to talk shit. Like I'm a fake shit talker. take me to barcade. Take me bowling. Like, let me talk some shit. Like, let's get to know each other. Like, that's how you, but I think also like, do you guys sit and think about the type of women that you actually want to be with? Or is your judgment clouded by what's on the exterior? And are you using discernment? Like in Scoob's example here, like it was your birthday and she didn't.
Oh, that was one girl though. Don't get it fucked up.
No, I'm using it as I'm using it as an example.
Yeah, I got you.
What kind of woman do you want to spend your time with?
Yeah, I knew it wasn't her. I knew that.
Yeah, so like planning dates and having conversations based on the type of woman that you would want to be with and using your discernment will get you really far. Like to Drew's point, you don't have to shell out a bunch of bread. Like one day you're going to get to a point where like, you know what, I really want to do something nice for you. Like let's go to the Chop House. Mm-hmm. Let's have a little weekend trip. Yeah. You really want to get to know the person first. Now that's not saying like, let's go for a walk or get coffee because I don't believe in pre-dates either. But like just being thoughtful and like thinking about the woman that you actually want to attract and be with, like planning a date for who that person is.
And I feel like because we're in New York City and because there's like the illusion of so many options, the muscle of discernment isn't super strong for a lot of people. Like you don't, and including myself, right? I'm like, are you going to act up? Like I'm gonna go to the party and it's fine. Like I'll find somebody else, right? You don't actually like push yourself to think critically about what it means to like date intentionally and who you want to date, and not just like what that person looks like, but what are the qualities that they're bringing. I think in the city that we're in, there are like really important muscles that we don't have to use, discernment being one, intentionality being another. We're just kind of like, it's easy to be super meh and go with the flow about things.
Yeah.
Live in Asia, I think you guys are an anomaly. I feel like since I've been in New York, the women that I've met are very much like what they're talking about. Like I feel like they are. And Drew, to your point too, I feel like this is what we don't do. Like we get used to say you want to go on a date. I'm gonna take her to the most expensive place I can think of. Maybe she's not that person. And I feel like early on we should talk about love languages and how we want to be shown things.
I asked that question up front.
Yeah, like
I don't think we're an anomaly. I think there's a lot. Like I'm thinking of like
women in New York City. You don't think so?
I think we're maybe the minority, but there's a lot more.
I truly think there are a lot more women that think this way than you would think. I think that if you are a professional woman that you're independent, you're making your own money, you're paving a way for yourself, you don't need a man to like flex and take you out to these nice spots. Like anyone can do that. And I think that there's a lot more women who think that way than you think.
Up here, I haven't experienced that. Up here, like typically 9 out of the 10 women that I meet expect that, and they are those women. They are single. They are independent. They got their own money, very successful careers, and don't need a man, but would like one, right? So
I value connection,
but they expect all of that out of it, and that's what I mean. I feel like y'all are more level-headed.
That's how it should be for me. Like I definitely care about. Do you have a job?
Yeah, that's how it should be.
Like I care about those things, but I don't need you to flex and show me those things, especially right away. Like because that gets into love bombing. So now we're talking about love bombing, and I don't like.
Yeah, and I care about those because like your success or your status can actually like highlight a lot of your values, whether you like want to acknowledge them or not. So like, are you hardworking? Right? Like whatever it is that you're hardworking at, like, do you have that skill? Like. Are you gonna like, do you have a level of grit where you're like, damn, like I'm down bad right now, but I'm not going to be down bad forever. And I think like sometimes we highlight status for what it is, but we don't like peel back the layers of like, what did it take for this person to actually get there? And like, are those the traits and the values that I want in a partner?
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely been a time where I've prioritized those surface level things, but then like when you get into the relationship with the person, it doesn't last. Like there's it's not sustainable.
Right.
So you kind of have to like grow, I guess. Maybe like we're the anomaly because, you know, we've had experiences and we've worked through that and like we can acknowledge and highlight what is a priority, what is important. Maybe the girlies aren't, healed.
There's also like a level of accountability, I think. Like, I don't know, like, I don't really know like how people process, but I was in like a really long-term relationship in my early 20s, and getting out of it pushed me into therapy that like kicked my ass. I was like, oh, so like I'm also the problem? That's really like, oh my God, like my shit is showing up in really real ways too. And I think like it goes back to like the grass is always greener. Like there are so many options where like I don't have to push past that discomfort and like think critically about my stuff, because if you make me uncomfortable, I'm gonna move on to the next. And it's like, really easy to do so.
Oh yeah, no person or anything is above my peace. I'm like
that part.
As soon as I see somebody is whatever, I'm like, my dad's like, why don't you get a dog or something? I'm like, nigga,
not a dog.
What do I need that for? It's like,
not your daddy said you lonely. Something to do.
With all that square footage, so your big ass apartment.
Yeah, all the amenities you need to.
With your amenities.
Hey, listen. Everybody in this building got a dog. I don't need a dog. I don't want that responsibility. I'll get a kid if I want to clean up that.
Yeah, get yourself a
kid. I get a kid. Did you say you get a kid?
Yes.
You said that's like having a pet that can talk.
Exactly. That's the thing. That's 100%, because at least that child can tell you what's wrong.
No.
Oh my.
That's no.
If a dog is too much, I don't recommend. Let's move on to the last question before we move get to the next segment. So the last question for this segment is, what advice would you give to someone new to dating in New York City?
If she gives you her number, call her.
Okay. Learn some lessons, Drew.
Hey man, look, some of these women, how do I put it? Make sure both of y'all are healed. If you just out of a relationship and you still dealing with a heartbreak, just chill by yourself. You're not gonna fix it by meeting somebody else. If you were just going outside to ease your way back. Here's another thing I would say is for the fellas though. Look, if you meet her and she said, "Yeah, I just got out of a relationship," just you can still be cordial. Just give her some space to deal with. Just be kind and that. Don't put too much, because like she probably might not be available, like ready emotionally for that, and then she'll start putting stuff on you that you ain't. It can be very frustrating. So I would say just get a number, call her, make sure y'all healed, and if she says she just got a relationship, just take a step back and let that work itself out.
I think there's two lanes. I think there's dating and then there's intentional dating. I think dating in New York City is a lot of fun. I think meeting men or women is a lot of fun, sharing new experiences, getting to know people. So if that's your lane, I would say go into it with low expectations. Just, treat it as just like a fun, like I'm getting to know people in the city. Now, if you're dating intentionally, to Drew's point, you got to do a little bit more weeding out. You got to use your discernment, which is my word of the evening. I feel like, and find people who are like aligned, like-minded, and aligned. Yeah. But dating in New York is fun. This is the best place to date.
It can be fun. It can be really lonely, and it can be like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I think my advice would be like, be super clear about what space you're in, because there have been times where I'm like in the go with the flow. I'm gonna. I've got my roster, I'm doing all of the things, and then it switches up.
Yep.
And I'm not like being honest with myself about the switch up. And now I'm caught up in this bullshit for years and it's not going anywhere. So my advice would be like, be super clear about where you're at. And then when you're not there anymore, be real about that and like don't compromise, because as much as we've been like shit talking all of the options, what you want is out there, right? And like it'll take a little bit to really get there, but like it's out there. And so you'll compromise on certain things, but you don't have to settle for someone who's not for you.
There's lots of men here.
Yeah.
Not you having niggas in your phone say there's carbone.
Oh.
not in these iPhones, too. In these phones.
You don't even saved anymore.
You don't get your number saved, okay?
Because as soon as you start saving numbers, they act up.
Okay, ain't that the truth? Oh, that's crazy.
And you're only referred to by the nickname.
The nickname that the group chat gives you.
That's the one rule. Don't be giving that man a name. Don't
Mm-mm.
get
I'll say
that
this.
They gotta
man
earn
a
it.
thing.
To that point, I just want to add one thing to what I said too. I would tell fellas, no, you are part of a roster. All right, this is not a one-player sport. You have teammates. So, now what you need to do is just acknowledge that and move in that and understand. Well, listen, if you are serious about getting some minutes, that you got to perform well. That you got to play time, practices, tryouts. You know what I'm saying? And then typically she will give you a little bit more playing time. And if you if you a star, you start seeing more minutes than everybody else. But yeah, you definitely got teammates. So I would maybe emphasize that point for real.
You have to expect that the person you're seeing is seeing other people. Especially
Mhm.
ladies. Please,
Man, these men are seeing all of the
All
people.
the people.
All of the
All of
it's good to be Delulu until it's not. Okay?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So get you somebody else too.
And
Don't put your eggs in that basket.
Stack up the roster. And my next piece of advice is don't get rid of your roster for a man who's not the man.
Mm.
Because that's bullshit.
Okay. We have more to talk about that. If you want to talk
Tis a
about
word.
it, Tasha will hit us up for the next episode.
Okay. Give me more content. I like it.
Yeah, I don't really have no advice. Really, I can't think of anything.
What?
I mean,
Who
y'all-
said good luck?
You said me and my amenities are fun.
No, I guess honestly, it's like there are people like especially if you move here, you have to get out. You have to like experience New York. You got to be in spaces where you want to meet different people. The people you want to meet are at. Stuff like that. I think a lot of people kind of just come up here and they start messing around, hang out with their coworkers and shit. It's like, like that's just weird. It's like none of these people have like stuff in common with you like that. You know what I mean? Like you gotta go out and meet people, but you also have to be slightly extroverted in a way. Even if you're an introverted person all the time, you can't be that and go out in the club and just like sit there and shit. You know what I mean? Like you gotta mingle, you gotta get out and if you're by yourself or whatever, that's the only way you're gonna meet people. Is you in a group chat by yourself otherwise.
And that's so hard. I think it's easier for y'all to like get out and meet people.
Yes, it
I
is.
really struggle sometimes.
I do too.
I'll hit the group chat like y'all.
We have to get
We
out.
gotta go
We
out.
have to go.
Right.
I know we want to stay inside. I know Selling Sunset has a new season, but we have to leave the house. We have to go out. We have to get around new people. Like that's the only way.
I think that's where we get stuck because I think we've like found a really nice community here.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, cool, like this is so much fun. We love these people, but we're not dating any of these people. So like, where are we gonna find people that
that's the hard
want to
part.
date? And it's always really hard to like figure out where those spaces actually are.
Yeah. Sometimes you can luck out and meet people that know people. You know what I'm saying? Like Tasha and I have hung out a bunch of different times. It's like my house, her house, whatever. Like we had game nights, whatever else. Like we're social people, so we know like I have kickbacks. Y'all, some of y'all guys have been there. I know a ton of people. So it's like if I meet Tasha and she just like, I just moved here. You could luck out in a situation like that because then you're around so many different like people. So I think that's part of the reason why you got to kind of put yourself out there a little bit.
And I think we need more of that. Like I think like that kind of ties in with the whole like technology app culture.
Yeah,
like
we're
losing the recipes. Like people used to meet their partners through mutual friends.
Yeah.
Like
Exactly.
we're not having enough game nights.
Yeah, but
like,
even the rooftop that we met
potlucks.
Scoob at, we were like, we don't know if we're gonna go. Is it gonna be one of those same old that like we've been to?
And it was all new people.
And it was all new people. And we were so glad that we went. But like we go through that process of like, is it worth it? Like
Yeah, see? I mean, that's the thing. Even if you are a person that is introverted, you gotta step outside that comfort zone a little bit. Or else you're always gonna be in a box. Like I've been in a relationship like that where she's like comfortable being in her box, and it's like that's not gonna work. Like you know what I mean? Because what happens in that situation? Anytime like I would like push her to kind of do something different or whatever, I always got pushback from it. Everything was like a fight, and it's just like I don't understand why we got to fight about this. I'm not like against you or nothing. I'm just showing you something that another way. You got to, if you're somebody that's used to being in that bubble, there's no way you're gonna like meet whoever you want to meet if you're only comfortable in that bubble.
Well, you know what they say about comfort zones. Nothing good ever came from comfort zones.
That's
Venture
true.
out, be great. All right, guys, we are moving right along to the next segment, which is story time. So, for this season, we've been taking listener submissions or talking about a social media event that's been swirling on the internet.
Ooh.
This one specifically is very interesting, and I kind of feel sis. So, let's give her some advice. So, she said, I've been talking to a guy I met on Hinge for the past couple weeks. I've had some weird experiences from dating apps, so I'm no longer up to meet in person until I feel like it's not going to be a waste of time. I'm hardly on Facebook, but I happen to be scrolling and see a post from the Are We Dating the Same Guy group. Long story short, I typed in his name to see if anyone posted about him, and lo and behold, 3 different girls posted about him, about how he pushed himself onto them on their first date. I've deleted the app and completely over the internet dating. As someone who has only lived here for a year and hasn't made a lot of friends, how else am I supposed to meet a man that isn't dating every other woman in the city or has horror stories online about them?
Wow.
I think
you have no hope.
that
You have
him
no hope.
pushing himself on women is
That's
super
problematic.
crazy. So like major fuck him, like that's wild.
Yeah.
If he like put that aside to like give her advice moving forward, I think like you have to know that men are dating the same way that you should be dating. So like I've never joined one of those groups only because I know that it would like hurt my feelings. But it's also like you have to have it in your head like, this is not my man. We are not exclusive. I don't even know him. Like, he doesn't really owe me anything. I don't owe him anything. And like, what are the vibes? Like, let's have a good time and be okay with like, at least in the very, like, you met him on Hinge. Like, what else do you think he's doing on Hinge? The same shit you're doing on Hinge, which is talking to other people. So like, that's the first thing you have to like come to terms with in the beginning when you don't know someone, is like knowing that they're dating other people.
I think also like the apps are, again, get back on the app. Get back on the app. I recently just deleted my apps, but I've been on and off for a long time. Okay. So get back on the app. And again, my discernment. You should not be pen paling with a man for weeks on Hinge. You need to, I like to give it like, I'll give you a week max. If you do not ask me out on a date within a week, not only that, just that, but like to Scoop's point earlier, if you are not having conversation, like you don't have those skills, then it's on to the next one. Like you have to be a little bit more strategic and selective when you're on the apps. There's no reason why you're talking to a man for 3 weeks. That is a dead giveaway that he's doing other stuff because he's making time for somebody. It just is not you. And yeah, and also says like you didn't meet him, so why are you even searching him on Facebook? Now it's a good thing that you did because you found out that he's low-key a predator. But like to Asia's point, you don't know this man. Even after 1 date, 2 date, 3 dates, you've seen this person in real life 3 times. You do not know this person.
And you don't know them. And you have to like ground yourself and like, I think at least also for myself, it's super easy to like fantasize over like, I've created this, like, I met him, we had a good dinner and we blah, blah, blah. And now he's my husband and like, it's really easy.
And I've been doing that too.
I mean, we do it in our chat. We'll be like, oh, my husband and blah, blah, blah. And you're like,
get ready for the fall wedding, y'all. Get ready.
And we're like, no.
Don't even know his name 6 months later.
Real, right? Like you wait until you get who this person really is and then decide if you like them. It's not an easy thing to do. But
set realistic expectations. You do not know this man. It's like, okay, so actually, let's say you have your best friends, right? Like you have your best girlfriends, okay? You would, if your best girlfriend called you in the middle of the night to say, hey girl, like I'm really struggling with such and such, like can you come over? You're going to get up out of your bed and go check on your friend, okay? If you met someone 3 times, you think they're cool, like they have great conversation and like, yeah, like, we get along and like, maybe we'll get happy hour sometime. If they call you asking you for help in the middle of the night, are you going to get up and go? No, you're not, because that would be crazy and weird. So you need to treat like the men that you're dating in the same way. Level set your expectations. Okay. Do not put all your eggs in one basket.
And I would also say, like, because I think she mentioned, or they mentioned, like, they don't have like a solid group of friends. I would mention, like, try to figure out a way to meet friends. I think
that'll ground
you. It'll ground you. It'll like give you a community that's outside of dating, so that dating doesn't become like your whole world. Like, you need friends to just do things that you sometimes think you can only do with a partner. You can do with your friends too.
I think that's easier said than done in New York. I can speak from it.
I think you have to be as intentional.
Like, even so, you know what I mean? And it's like, it's hard to meet people. And even if you meet them, so I've gone to Scoob's events and I met cool girls, but it never gets out of the first text message. You're like, hey, or you know, I see you at a party, hey girl, but that's it. So it's hard to make those connections to even be like, hey girl, you want to go to brunch or whatever, you know, because I think that
it does get harder the older you get too.
It's just as difficult as dating up here, in my opinion.
We're fortunate enough that we all knew each other from like college, and so like when we came here, like we kind of had a built-in community. But there are friends that we've made along the way. Like I know, I mean, I don't know who's launching, but like we joined a kickball league. You met tons of people there. Like there's just like stuff that it's uncomfortable, but you kind of have to look for it. The same way that you're looking for a partner, you have to look for communities that you can be a part of. And I mean, I know that the girls right now are talking about join a run club, blah, 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 blah. Like, join a tennis club, join a run club. There's like girls or like anything that's like, they have networking events in the city. You can go on TikTok or Instagram and like find meetups. Like they are happening. I think you just have to be a little bit more intentional with it. It just is hard when you're older. Like you don't want to make the new friends. It feels harder coming into like girl groups that are already established. And I get it, but like
I feel like it's easy to form those, like make those initial connections, but maintaining them, I feel like it's just, I've met a lot of flaky people, men and women, across the board up here.
That's fair. That's totally fair.
You know, or be like, yeah, I'll come, never see them. You know what I mean? Like and that's my first time experiencing this at my big age. First time experiencing this, and I've lived a lot of places, and I've never had a hard time dating and making female friends as I have here. So I kind of get it, and I feel like it's hard. Like year 2 to feel like okay, I'm meeting some people, making a little bit of progress, but it's interesting out here.
It can be super lonely. It's really hard, and
that's the
main reason why I wouldn't move to another city.
I would,
because I already know myself. I would be alone.
I feel like it's easier in other cities. Like this is just New York is just everything in New York is excessively hard for absolutely no reason. Like everything is 10 times harder.
Yeah,
that's what I was going to say. Like we're all, you know, Black college students at some point. So we're probably members of like an NABJ or, you know, different like engineering programs, whatever. Those little communities you have in school, they usually have like networking events. That's what I was going to say. And you can go to these things again. This is you having to get out of your little bubble that you're normally in. But if Liv and Asia don't know each other, you guys are both at a Black engineering thing or Black women in tech event or whatever. You have an intro point to, hey girl, how you doing? You know, whatever. Or y'all know how y'all do. Y'all see each other out and be like, oh girl, that lip gloss looks amazing. Like
your lip combo.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love it. Is that topical?
Dudes don't do that. Like I wouldn't see Drew be like, yo, my nigga, your lineup look real crispy.
You guys would join like a basketball.
Right. That's like where y'all balling. That's an easy one for y'all.
Learn how to play basketball. Yeah.
But sometimes, honestly, the easy way for dudes to meet each other really could be like, yo, you got the fives on, or you got the whatever. Like I fuck with those. I was gonna grab those or whatever. Like some sneakers or whatever. Like you see, that's an intro point or whatever, but it don't work like that for us. We just kind of like it just happens.
Women are a little bit different, and I also think if I'm being super honest, I think very generally speaking, like there is this natural born level of like competition that I don't know if women in general like acknowledge, but I grew up with sisters, so like I'm one of 4 sisters, and like competition is like how we navigate and operate within our family. Like we're always fighting. But I think like when women meet, we naturally like size each other up, and it's shitty. It's like,
really,
I think so. I think like, and I think it creates a barrier for like making real connections. Like I've gone out before and like have met cool girls but like have felt like, should I be guarded? A lot of people navigate really selfishly, and that creates a barrier to like make connections as women. And like we're fortunate, like we've met girls that we didn't know in college or through college, and like have like we love them, and they're become a part of our friendship group. And I think it like we're able to do that because we feel super secure in our friendship group. But like I don't know if a lot of women always feel that way. And so when you meet new people, it's like a little bit of a side eye. I've felt that from women before.
Yeah.
No, I've seen. So I was actually just talking to a friend of mine. She is having a little bit of turmoil in a friend group that, funny enough, they all met through me.
Surprise, surprise.
Here's the problem.
So, no, it has nothing to do with me. You know what I mean? But they have, so they're having a bit of issue between them. And just listening to one of them tell the story, I'm just like, yo, this kind of sounds like she's in competition with you. One of them is used to being the girl out of the group. Like, I'll give you a funny story. Like, so we Nike had a football league out here. So my team, some of us played together, and we became like a group of us became like friends on the side. But like we became like a group, it's like 5 of us. And I would go out with some of them. I had to tell them one time, I was like, yo, I said, it's different hanging with y'all niggas because I've never been number 2 in my friend groups. And they just laugh at that. But this nigga is like 6'6", so it's like it's different. Like it's like I'm like, all right, I gotta play a different role here. It's kind of like a sports reference like Drew gave earlier. You have to play a different role. It's like, all right, cool. You gotta know what your lane is and master that. I think dudes can kind of establish those things or figure those things out, where it may be more of a competition thing, like you said, and women groups will fall out because they can't shift into that role, or their ego won't allow them to say, oh, okay, so you're this girl, I need to be this girl then. Meeting pretty women together is I'm like, yo, that's great. But the bad thing about it is, as a dude, you could pick the wrong one. A dude come up to live, be like, oh, what's up, girl, blah, blah, blah. You be like, yeah, I'm married. Asia is already like off having a drink somewhere. It's like, yeah, it's you. I can't double back now and go after your single friend because it's like I've already shot here.
There's a technique to that.
Yeah, a dude playing his flag somewhere, it's a wrap. You cannot bounce anywhere else. You can no longer play in this particular sandbox. So it's a wrap. You got to pick the right one. So I think that also goes into the play with the when y'all were talking about men approaching women. Because if y'all two come in somewhere together, nigga got to make a decision. And it has to be the right one. You know what I mean? Because he go playing his flag somewhere and it's a wrap.
I mean, there's a technique to that, though. I'll say this, though. When you in a situation like that, as a man, I tell you, look, you got to treat the entire group as if your audience. You got to have some good jokes lined up and ready to go. Whoever's laughing the loudest or touching, oh my God, he's crazy. That's the one you want to shoot. Or the one that's kind of being kind of shy and quiet a little bit. She might be a little whatever. That's also maybe one you might want to consider. So yeah, there's a whole technique. I've engaged groups of 9 women at once by myself, dolo. Like I've had people be like, yo, I'll be your wingman. I'm like, I don't need no wingman. I'm Maverick. I fly solo. You know what I'm saying? So like, yeah, I think that's an interesting situation. I would say though, that spirit of competition, I'm very, very happy for y'all that you were able to be so transparent about that, because that's something I don't even think about. Like when I'm, you meet a bunch of fellas, you know what I'm saying, some dudes like, okay, y'all cool, whatever. Like when we thinking about these dudes look like they got good hygiene, they're not gonna scare the women away. Like that's one of my main thoughts. I'm like, all right, we're going cool. Like, are you going to scare them away or not?
Oh no.
Just take one bad friend.
Right. Well, they're all creeps.
And I also think, like, to come back to the question,
the advice for the girl.
Yeah. Like all of like
shit, I totally forgot about that.
That takes priority.
It just like like you have to be like thinking about these sorts of things, and then like putting yourself out there in ways that are like super uncomfortable, and like none of that is easy, but
level setting expectations,
Yeah.
being comfortable, being uncomfortable.
And like realizing what Hinge and like dating apps are. Like
Oof,
you
the devil.
might meet someone and like that's really great, and then you might not, and then that's also probably okay.
For the last segment, we open it up and we open it up so you guys can ask any questions that you guys want to ask. It doesn't have to be related to the topic that we've been discussing tonight. It can be about anything. So now it's y'all's turn. The tables have turned.
I got a question for ladies. Okay, so you mentioned like, okay, you don't clear your roster for one dude when you know he hasn't really established himself. How do you actually go about clearing your roster? Like, do you like gather everybody together? Like, you're all gathered here. I know you're wondering, and I have some sad news. Though I very much appreciate your contributions, I must inform you that your services are no longer required. Your position, like, is it something like that? Like, how do y'all, or is it like one at a time? Hey, you've been cool, or do you kind of like fade to black, and you know, so, like how do you?
I think it depends. I think it depends on like the person, and also like whether or not main guy or main person aside, you're clicking. So like you might have like a real reason to be like I've cut men off when I had like a main guy.
Asia used to be good at managing her roster. Okay. Asia used to have a robust roster.
You find out shit.
I think all your business.
Asia the GM.
She's not loyal. We are live.
Okay.
It was a pass.
It was a pass. I'm in my healing era right now, hence because I cut all my men off for an Asian dude. So now I'm in my healing era.
Well,
but there are ways in which, like, if you're not connecting with somebody, you're not connecting with them for real reasons, like main person aside. And like, so there have been times where I've been like, listen, like, this just isn't working. And I think like you feel it too. There have been other times where like I'm able to like slow ghost it out, where like
Love ghost.
it's not a full
it's
not a full ending, it's a fizzle, but I know that like if need be, I can circle that block. And then there are
leave the door cracked.
How you point?
And then there are times where it's like it'll fizzle, and like if I need to, I actually don't want to circle the block on you because like it just wasn't the vibes. I think you make a decision on how to end something based off of like
in addition to all of that, the roster really cleans itself up, to be honest.
It does, because people can't sustain,
you know,
you lose people after a couple of months. Like you have a number one, somebody else might have like a different number one, and that like cleans it up.
3-month mark makes everything's pretty
I learned that dating a New York lawyer. Yeah, 3 months. She cut me off. I got cut from the team, bro.
Like if you're not making the decision, the trash will take itself out.
Absolutely.
Wow.
I make it through waivers neither.
That's such a vicious.
Was that too harsh?
Yeah.
No, very well said.
I feel like that was like a battle rap line or something. Crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. Just wonder how y'all went about doing it.
What?
See, I'm Casper.
Okay, we have a question.
Oh, okay, yeah, great.
Oh, do we?
I'm looking at our board.
We had notes.
We have notes. What are y'all afraid of when it comes to commitment? Like, what is it? Like, because I've heard so many men be like, I'm just afraid. Like, I need to work my shit out. And it's like, what are you working out? Like, what are you
and
afraid
maybe
of?
not even you specifically, but draw from like your friends.
Yeah, like your man community in your head.
So say it one more time. What are we afraid of?
What are you afraid of when it comes to commitment? Like, do you think we're gonna like bunker down and now like move in with you? Like, what is it?
You know what it is? I'm not really afraid of commitment. I think for commitment is cool. I think that my problem is I'm so used to being alone. And just move at a certain speed. So when you now have to move in a different manner because you have somebody with you, it's a bit of an adjustment. I remember one time I was on a train with this girl, and we were just in there because we was going for a date or whatever, and I'm eating some snacks or whatever. I'm just chilling. She want to cuddle up on me, whatever, give arm. Now I can't use because we was on.
You can't use your arm to eat your
snack. So now I gotta wait because I had a soda and I was like enjoying myself. Now she want to cuddle up. So now I'm
in the flow, yeah.
So now I can't do that or whatever. Or like when you driving or whatever, cause like okay, I'm driving and you want to hold my hand, but we're going through traffic. I kind of want to Like, you know what I'm saying? Like on a highway, yeah, I would like. So like so I have moments like that, but don't get me wrong. I also enjoy those moments, the whole hand and all that color. But like, I kind of like read the room. Like if I'm enjoying my snacks, you want to introduce my snacks? Don't hold me. Okay, so like I think
stop you from like
a commitment.
No. Well,
what I'm hearing is that you still want like the freedom to like have your space and do the things that you want to do. You don't want someone all up on you all the time.
Yeah,
and boundaries.
Fair.
Yeah, because like I like that when I like it, but then when I want my freedom, I like my space, I want that too. Like I remember one time I made a joke. It's like, yeah, I'm not gonna be honest. Matter of fact, look, we together. Don't even worry about me. Don't hit me up unless it's an emergency. But then I was just joking at the time. But what I really meant to say was like, what I really meant to say. I say things. I use hyperbole for comedy. It works. But like, I don't. No, it's only like 20% true. It's 20% true. But look, like I don't fear commitment. I embrace it. I think it's really cool. It's just that it's an adjustment. So yeah, it's a little bit of an adjustment for what I usually do.
So I was in a relationship this year, and I think we talked about this a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
We broke up like right before the summer or whatever. It was definitely an adjustment because everything was different. You know, this person is always here and everything else. I didn't mind her in my space though, but at the same time, just like Drew said, there are times I did want my space. Like Sunday come around, it's like, bro, I'm watching the games. Like that's the only day I asked for. Just give me that.
Like Patrice O'Neal, he's like,
yes.
We want you near, but like around us, but not like here.
Like, like it was right. Like you could be in the living room, do whatever you want out there. I will literally be in I can NFL Red Zone on. I'm good all day.
Oh, not Red Zone.
Oh yeah. But this is like
all day.
I do think though.
Are you afraid of commitment?
Me?
Yeah.
He's had a girl.
I don't think so.
I mean, that's okay. You can have a girl and still be afraid of commitment because there's levels to commitment. He got to a certain level. That doesn't mean like he wants to like marry someone.
No, I mean like there's so different relationships I've had like our feelings have been different.
I say like this though. I think the other thing I wanted to mention is like, yeah, commitment is really a cool thing. And like when you meet people who are worth it, I mean a young lady who's worth it, like and they make you want to crave that.
See, that's what I was getting at.
That's everything. I know for me personally, I'm a very affectionate person. So like I'm you know, as long as I'm not using my hands, I'm happy to come cuddling on that. My only issue would be like, if I'm actively engaged in something that requires a level of dexterity, using my my carpals, metacarpals, and phalanges, then like my bad little science words, but like just give me a little space. But when I'm chilling, come to daddy. Come to daddy.
Daddy child.
Come to daddy.
Oh my God.
You think Shay was something? I'll show you something.
When is a time where you were dating somebody and you knew that it was over? Like you're dating someone and what happened where you said, and I got another question after this too, but answer that one first.
What?
Dude, I gotta answer for that for every week. Like,
when was I dating someone and I knew it was a no?
Yeah, like you're dating.
Everybody's been a no. If you're not,
or you could have been.
Yeah, like we're all. I mean, I'm single, so all
a long list.
No.
Like think of a time where you're like, yeah, I'm never going to see this person ever again. Like when you knew it was over. What happened? What was it?
We had gone on like a lot of really thoughtful dates, and I had let him know that like I was in that space. I was like a little bit of a slow burn. And like, there were a few red flags where like we had gone out and I explained, I was like, listen, like I like you. I think I need to move a little bit slow. And the reason I was saying I need to move slow is because like, I have issues with trusting like my own decision-making. And I'm like, I really want to be like mindful about how I move. And right after that conversation at the same like dinner, he was like, so do you want to travel to California for a wedding? And I'm like, what about slow? There's nothing slow about us going to California together for a wedding. And so like a few weeks later, he had taken me out for my birthday and he just was like, I don't know if like somebody got into his ear. He like switched up his conversation of like, I don't need to settle down. Like, I don't need to be with anybody. And I'm like,
Oh,
okay, like cool. And then things didn't like go to plan physically. And so I was gonna go home and leave. And he called me a brat. And I was like, I will never see you.
Because he could not
ever. And like, just was like this in my head. I don't like, he had no idea, but in my head, I was like, I'm never going to go on a date with you again. You called me a brat for like some bullshit. I can be a brat. I understand that.
Oh, you said a brat. I thought you said a rat. Oh.
No, that was
after he could not perform, he then called her a brat.
After he couldn't perform sexually, he called me a brat.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah. And I was like, that's really crazy. Like, also, it's my birthday. You're ruining my birthday vibes. And I left. And in my head, I was like, this is never going to work, only because like I was so offended and the whole vibes were off. And I felt like he was super into me and then was trying to play a game where like he was trying to act like he wasn't that into me. I wasn't in the mindset of like playing the games with him because I thought we started off strong and I thought I had communicated well. So in my head, I was like, I'm never going to talk to you again. And we ended up like texting and I was like, listen, like, I appreciate your thoughtfulness. So like, this isn't going to work out. And he like started to rage on me a little bit. And I was like, I'm just going to respond. Yikes. So like in my head, I knew the roster was a little bit too full for you to act up that way. And I was so.
Wow.
I just remembered one. Do you remember The Poet?
Oh my God.
Wow, this is already
got nicknames. This is great.
Right.
Roses are red, violets are blue. Let's hear the story, please.
I had to think about it. Like when something is over, like I just don't even think about you anymore. We had gone out a few times, and then it's funny because you can't smoke with anybody. Like you can't just be smoking with new people. And I smoked with him once and I was just freaked out. Like his face looked crazy.
She texted me.
I was texting
like,
them. I was like, do y'all have
fuck? And I'm like, what?
I was like, this is too much. Like in that moment, I knew I was like, I'm not going to see you again. However, I was going to Jamaica that weekend. So I'm now in Jamaica. I had already made this decision about this man. I felt really uncomfortable and I felt like it was just like my intuition in the high. I was like, this ain't it, girl. So I'm in Jamaica and he sends me money. Like as soon as I touched down, he was like, oh, have you landed? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, I just got here. Because I hadn't communicated with him at that point that I was like not interested. Because part of me felt like I was just tripping. But I wanted to use the time in Jamaica to kind of like process my feelings about the smoke sesh. So anyway, I land. I tell him I land. He sent me money immediately. And I was uncomfortable with that. And he said, I said something like, oh, like, what is this for? Or something along those lines. I feel like it was like $200. And I was like, what is this for? And I'm thinking that he's going to be like, oh, like buy a drink on me or whatever, like something like cute and normal and like not weird. And he was like, oh, like buy the finest swimsuit that you can find or something like that. And I did not like that because, sir, like, are you sending me this money thinking I'm going to buy a swimsuit and then what, like send you photos? Like, that's not happening. I'm not doing that. So I ended up sending the money back and I communicated. I was like, listen, I was really uncomfortable with this. I didn't like it. I think that, you know, like we should just be cordial, whatever. And then he was writing me poems. I think like, I
was waiting for the kicker, the poet.
Oh my God. I was waiting for that part.
He was sending me poems, I think like every morning for like a week or so. And I was sending, they weren't half bad.
They weren't bad. The group chat was like, the group kind of vibing out here. Like, I don't know.
He kind of in a group chat.
Right. Yeah, they sitting around like,
kind of talented.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was sending poems. And then I had to block him. And it's funny because he actually recently just started popping up on my Instagram. So now he's like back to watching my stories. But yeah, I think that's
so
like,
unblocked him.
I blocked him on my phone, like on text,
Oh,
and I have him restricted on Instagram because like
that
he was
restricted
also,
is
he hasn't caused any problems. He hasn't like reached out, but he's just like at the bottom with like the blurred out little circle, like just watching. I'm like, you can watch.
Don't you worry. That poem book is looking real crazy for you. Just wait. Just wait. He got about 17 of them, good ones too.
Bruh, like
the poems is actually really funny.
The poems are crazy. Like
just like he like, oh word, all right, I got something for your ass.
I mean, they. Like, and the thing he had a flow though, like because she was dropping him in a group chat. We were like, I mean, it was like him.
It was like clockwork, different. Like every morning.
That's
and like, imagine if, and I'm thinking to myself, like, thank God, like we didn't get like physical or anything. Like, he might.
Oh my God. Oh man.
It would have been bad. He could have. He would have pulled.
It might have been like
it was.
Y'all would have been like, what's that movie, Mia Copa or whatever?
Oh God, that's crazy.
Oh God, yeah, no.
We've
had some experiences,
so we're just like, it's not. And I think like you have to kind of trust that about yourself, right? Like for me in my past, I'll be like, I'll know it's not the vibes, and I'll be like, but he's a nice guy, so like let me continue on, and you end up in this shit, and you're like, I should have dubbed it back then. Like, what was I like? The Delulu, like the Delulu, and like the desperation of like wanting a partner, and like it's a lot, and you just be selling.
You just can't operate from a scarcity mindset. You
can't.
What's the pettiest reason y'all have stopped talking to somebody or dating somebody?
You're a Giants fan, isn't that right?
Okay, that's actually very valid. Liv, you can co-sign that.
I found other reasons to like
go birds.
The thing. But I hated the way this one man's aftershave smelled. Like I couldn't even deal with it.
His aftershave?
Oh, wow. Yeah. And the fact that I could smell his aftershave was such a problem. And he was shitty anyways, but I just couldn't even normally I can bring myself to push past shitty, annoying behavior, but I couldn't even do it because his aftershave was so intense.
I think that's funny because he like go to hug and you're like, ugh.
I mean, a little bit. Like I remember texting my like work friend being like, hey, like you live near here, like, can you come get me? And she was like, are you serious right now? I'm like, yeah, actually, like I want to vomit. This man's vibe is his aftershave smells bad.
Yeah, that smell is crazy.
Have I done anything petty like that? I don't think so.
I'm getting a vibe that I'm sure you had to. You strike me in the top, you got at least one. At least one. Like, all right.
Because a second ago she said she had no story. And then she went in a deep dive. She was out here dating Wale.
Edgar Allan Bro.
Right, exactly.
I don't think I'm a petty dater, though. I mean, I don't think I'm a petty dater.
Said this man was weird when he was hot.
This flower bomb.
Well, I was on to something though.
Yes, it's called drugs.
Right. You were definitely on something. That's correct.
And the synapses
okay. I didn't give like the context. He was already like, he had some yellow flags. And then that was kind of just like
the cherry on top.
But like petty, I don't think I've not talked to someone for a petty reason.
I don't think so.
I'm a nice lady, you know. I like to do enough vetting up front where I don't have to be petty.
I can see that.
I'm a little bit,
fair.
So you get your petty out early. You get the petty out.
Yeah. I'll try to. I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to waste your time.
There we go. Yeah. I mean, both of y'all, you gentlemen,
what?
Y'all petty vibes. So what y'all gonna answer the question?
Well,
I mean, there's
so many, right? Just so
many. Chuckle is a giveaway. It's the chuckle.
All right. I mean, there's been like a couple like where you about to get to it or whatever, and oh man, it just smell like a long day.
That's not petty.
That's not
petty. That's wow.
Like a long day.
Yeah, I can't really do this.
Well, what'd you do? Got to see it through, my boy.
No.
So how do you reverse out of that?
Listen,
you don't. You go through.
As a teenager, gotta see it through. As a grown man, I figure something else out. I gotta we got to get it out some sort of
Do
way.
you just say the words like you just
No,
like
don't do that, because that is there's you know how hard that is. A dude, a man telling you your vagina does not smell well is not going to be a good conversation. There's no good way to say that.
I would hope she would know though, because you can smell yourself.
Yeah, but it's just
like,
crazy, because this is okay. Remember how y'all were just a second ago saying how having your guy friends and we get it wrong? This is where y'all steer us wrong.
Oh,
that's not a cool way to say that. This is not a good way where that's going to work out.
You're right. There's nothing you can say.
What is it? Right. You know what's funny? There was one time ever I tried to do that, right? I was talking to the girl and I'm dancing around the whole thing. I was like, yeah, maybe we you know what I mean? Maybe we should just like,
sit in the bathtub.
Like just trying to figure it out, right? And she's like, oh, just go ahead and say it. And I was just like, there's no way to do that and everything is gonna be cool. She was like a nice girl, so it's like I don't want to hurt her feelings and be like, hey man, look, that's crazy. Like there's no cool way to do that.
I don't know. I would never tell anybody.
I mean, is this somebody that you were dating like repetitively? Like you're going to see this person like, you've been on multiple dates, you've built a rapport with this person, or is this like some kind of, y'all meet up, y'all do what y'all do, like, because if it's somebody that you actually kind of invested in a little bit.
We went out a couple of times, but we were totally in the box of, hey, what are you doing? Come through space.
Oh, well, clearly she's been coming through to somebody else's apartment, and they done mess some things up down there, and she bringing it to you.
Also, I feel like I've never got
That's
what happens. Y'all generally, that is the problem. Like dirty penis.
All right, man, that wasn't
do this to women, and if you're messing with different, because even if you like a new partner, sometimes your body has to adjust to the new person. Like your bacteria, all kinds of weird shit is involved. So
hey man,
but if it's fishy, that's different. That's a so she gotta go.
Like she gotta
go get some.
She needs to drink some water.
Yeah, red lobster.
Water ain't gonna kill that. She needs some boric acid or something.
Some cranberry juice. Some probiotics.
Probiotics. It's a long-term solution.
Who doesn't like seafood? Okay,
yo,
for real.
Oh my gosh.
Another petty reason.
I'm playing.
This happened when
I say crazy stuff. I say crazy stuff for
Oh
a
my god.
All right, so this is also in the time, you know what I'm saying? Like we would go out and we dance and kick it, whatever. Bro, this girl had no rhythm at all, bro. Oh my god.
Now that is very petty. That is actually a petty reason.
No,
that is actually a petty reason.
It was bad. It was bad because like records would come on. It's like I can't even, you know what I'm saying? Like, bro, like she was dancing to the words and not like it was like
that's me.
I'm like, dog. And I'm telling my man, I was like, nigga, she's dancing to the song that's about to come on.
Oh,
it was dog. It was crazy.
Oh my God.
I'm there, and this is like she just and I just want to grab her like no. Like
why is that a turnoff? Because it alludes to how she's going to perform elsewhere.
Not even that. It was more so just like it was embarrassing, low key, because like we would be out. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, this was a long time ago, but we like I said, we were talking about people don't be dancing in clubs anymore, but. It's like, yo, I'm trying to kick it with you. Like that's if you're dealing with somebody and you dance with them, y'all know, like that's a step before, like, hey, let's get up out of here and do what we gotta do. I'm soft. Like, like this is not working.
Okay.
That's hard.
Scoob's mic is off.
We're turning Scoob's mic off.
Right.
Oh man. Goodbye, friend.
Let's say you're freshly dating somebody and y'all go out or whatever, and that nigga just is all over the place, and you're just like, girl.
I'm gonna ask him to have a seat.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's absolutely
dancing.
No, I'd be like, no, let's two-step, babe. Let's two-step.
Let me hold you.
Right here.
Right, let me hold you.
Right here.
Like his name in the group chat is gonna be it's gonna be some funny ass shit.
Oh man.
That's wild. That is a
That's
petty
crazy.
reason. That's hilarious.
Very,
I
yeah.
told you I had a petty reason. I come up with one.
Feel like you got a few more up your sleeve too. But thank you guys for joining me for another great episode. And our live viewers for the comments. Don't forget to download the Secrets of the Opposite Sex app to play from home. And subscribe to our podcast and follow us here on YouTube and at Secrets of the Opposite Sex for more content.
This is a song you write poetry to.